This video goes with Kuta handout K9, so for those students that are having trouble. We want to convert something in standard form to what we call slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. And the reason why we want to do this is because if we have our slope and we have our y-intercept, it's very easy to graph the equation. So for problem number 1, I'm trying to get y out by itself. So that means I'm going to start to move some things around. I'm going to take this 2x and I'm going to move it to the other side of the equal sign or the other side of the equation. And when I do so, the only thing that happens is it changes signs. So if I rewrite this, I now have a negative y equals, well, it was a positive 2x on the left-hand side of the equation. If I move over to the right, it becomes a negative 2x. And I'm going to put that first because I want my slope first. And the negative 4 is already over there. So now I have a negative y equals a negative 2x minus 4. I'm still not there yet because I want it to be in the form of positive y equals the slope plus the y-intercept. So there's two ways I can achieve that. I can either divide every term by negative 1. And by doing so, I have this, a negative y divided by a negative 1 becomes a positive y. A negative 2x divided by a negative 1 becomes a positive 2x. And a negative 4 divided by a negative 1 becomes a positive 4. That is the form I want it in, so I can graph. Remember, my slope is always rise over run. So if I have my rise over my run, I better take that whole number 2 and make it a fraction. So my slope is going to be 2 over 1, and now I can easily graph it. I always start with the y-intercept, which is a positive 4. And from that point, I want to graph a positive 2 over 1 for a slope. So I go up 2 over 1, that would give me a positive slope, or I can go down 2 back 1, down 2 back 1, down 2 back 1. All of these will work. Down 2 back 1, connect all those dots, I graph the line. We're going to try another method of doing this over here. I'm going to go ahead and take this 3x and move it over to the other side of the equal sign, or the other side of the equation, and now I have a negative y equals a negative 3x plus 3. I have the same problem. I would like that to be a positive y. So if I just go ahead and multiply the whole equation by a negative 1, I can change signs. And I'm going to do that. A negative 1 times a negative y becomes a positive y. A negative 1 times a negative 3x becomes a positive 3x. A negative 1 times a positive 3 becomes a negative 3. That's the form I wanted in, slope-intercept form, to graph it. Remember, my slope is rise over run, so I'm going to go ahead and put 3 over 1 for my slope. My y-intercept is a negative 3, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can graph that quickly. Let's see, negative 3 is where I start, my y-intercept. And from there I need a positive 3 slope, so I go up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1, or I can go down 3 back 1. If I connect all those dots, I should have that line graphed. I have a couple more I'd like to do. Problem number 3, a little bit harder here. I'll move the 7x over there, so now I have 4y equals a negative 7x minus 20. But wait a second, if I want to get y all by itself, I better divide by 4. So the opposite of multiplying by 4 would be divide by 4, but I have to do that to every term. So now 4 divided by 4 is a positive 1, so there's my positive 1y. I'm going to separate the coefficient from the variable, so this becomes a negative 7/4 x. A negative 20 divided by a positive 4 becomes a negative 5. That is the form I wanted in. Remember, my slope is a negative 7/4. My y-intercept is a negative 5. And I'm going to go ahead and graph that quickly. I started in a negative 5. And remember, I want a negative 7/4, so I'm going to go up 7. But I got to go the right direction, so I'm going to go back 4 to create a negative slope line. In fact, those would be the only 2 points I could graph. I can't get up 7 and back. But if I connect these two, I would have graphed that line. The last example is going to be problem number 4. This one's quite a bit easier. If I just move this over here, I already have a positive y equals, well, if it's a positive 2x here and I jump the equal sign, negative 2x, there's my slope. Negative 1 is already over there, So my slope is a -2, -2 over 1. My y-intercept is a -1. Very easy to graph this one. Start at my y-intercept at -1. Remember, I want a -2 slope, so I go up 2. I've got to go back 1, up 2, back 1, up 2, back 1, or I could go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. Connect those dots, and I've graphed that point.